Hi everyone, my name is Nina Fine and I am a singer-songwriter, music educator, mentor and co-founder of Women in Jazz, an organisation that champions and nurtures female artists in jazz across the UK from different backgrounds and jazz genres through radio, live events and education. I am passionate about building self-esteem, creativity and resilience in young people to pursue creative careers and build financially and commercially sustainable music practice. I'm also interested in working with organisations, institutions, partners and sponsors to work for a more inclusive music industry, with my speciality being in jazz music. So in this presentation, I've been asked to share my journey and involvement with Sound Connections and Wired for Music. I'm also going to share how I define youth voice and why I think it is important. And then I'll cover the most effective ways that Sound Connections achieves and engages with youth voice in their organisation, and a couple of top tips for anyone who's looking to include and engage youth voice in their own organisation. So I'll first talk about my journey and my involvement with Sound Connections and Wired for Music. In just 2 years of connecting with Sound Connections, I've received support and work with the charity in many different ways. My first engagement was with a DNA, Development Needs Analysis meeting with a DEM, who was part of the team. And then since then, I've worked on events, assisted in interview selections and spoken on panels as a Wired for Music member. I've also partnered with Sound Connections in their Get Business Ready event as Women in Jazz. And from 2018 to 2019, I was a young trustee in the Sound Connections charity. And this gave me insight into governance, evaluation and measuring impact, writing budgets, as well as skills needed for selecting a trustee board. As a member of Wired for Music, I've attended CPD training for free, and this has been in evaluation, youth work, writing funding applications, and more. So through all these work development opportunities and guidance, I have been able to establish my music practice more clearly and have learnt many skills and insights into the music education sector, also having opportunities to build my network. These examples demonstrate the impact of consistent support for young people. This is just 2 years, and yet the support and opportunities have been life-moulding. So something I want to highlight as well is that this is possible because Sound Connections and Wired for Music as a team have processes in place to offer sustained support before, during and after opportunities. So examples of this are check-in and follow-up emails, the online opportunities page on the Wired for Music website, drop-in sessions that are frequently led by Wired for Music members, call out for Wired for Music work emails, and they are always paid opportunities, a monthly newsletter. Another thing I want to highlight is that the environments that Sound Connections and Wired for Music create and facilitate are inclusive and open to people of all genders, races or ethnicities, disabilities and abilities, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Something else I want to note is that, in my opinion, youth voice is a two-way process. That starts with the organisation leaders creating the right kind of invitation or opportunity or call to action for a young person to show up and take the opportunity. Clarity is vital when this invitation is being offered. So what is youth voice and why is it important? To me, youth voice means young people being in the decision-making seats alongside organisation leaders from the beginning. Essentially, it follows the saying, practice what you preach. Youth voice means listening to the needs of the people you are serving. This will help your organisation create representative and inclusive environments, and this decreases the possibility of making unfounded assumptions that can have damaging effects later. Youth voice is important because it is one of the most effective and practical ways of identifying the needs of young people in the communities you want to serve and work with. It engages young people to build the skills in leadership, communications and organisation that will build a strong foundation in whatever they do later in life, whether it's music related or not. This also lays a foundation for participants to become future ambassadors of healthy change in the sector. And isn't that a goal that we are all working towards? Having young people deliver your projects, sit on the trustee boards, run focus groups and lead research is more relatable and motivational for other young people too. Putting youth voice at the forefront or the heart of your organisational work also engages collaborative, innovative and inclusive work. While most young people may have less organisational experience, this can often welcome innovative, wide-thinking ideas that have not been restricted by experience. To have this mindset is invigorating for any organisation because they can be reworked and co-designed with the organisation team. So, what are the most effective ways that I think Sound Connections supports youth voice? The first one is paid opportunities for young people. By paying young people for the work they do, not only does it help young people realise the value of the work they are offering, but it also means it is more inclusive and doesn't have the privileged pitfalls of unpaid internships. Next, it's work development and progression routes. An example of this is Jasmine, who is the current Wired for Music programme producer. She was involved in the Wired for Music network for multiple years before applying for the job, and now she is part of the full-time working team in Sound Connections as part of the Wired for Music team. And finally, the Trusteeship. The Trusteeship invites young people to learn skills they wouldn't usually learn that are vital for leadership. It also gives an opportunity for their voice to be at the forefront of what happens within the organisation. It is useful to go on a young person's CV, increasing their employability skills. And it also helps young people develop trustee skills that means they can actually become future trustees in other organisations. So this has a personal impact for the young person. It has a specific organisational impact for the charity that has the trusteeship. And it also helps the wider sector by creating future trustees for other organisations. So here are a couple of top tips that I could think of to offer to all of you. First of all, include young people in the decision-making process from the beginning. This could be annual trusteeship, leading focus groups quarterly, and finding ways of co-leading with young people on any projects. This is to ensure organisations are delivering specific, accountable, innovative and useful projects. Another thing, accountability is important. So make sure that if you are offering a young person a role, that you communicate the expectations of the role clearly to the young person so they understand not only what they are expected to achieve, but they are also able to understand and identify what they want to achieve as an individual. Have clear progression routes and debrief meetings after any youth voice role. This will help you ask questions like, what further help does the young person need? You will help the young person identify what further skills they want to work on or further roles they want to apply for, as I've mentioned before, becoming a trustee for another organisation, or applying for funding for a project they now feel ready to lead themselves. This adds to the sustainability of the project. If you're unsure of how to offer these progression routes, then get someone to consult you on this. Sound Connections is a great organisation that offers this kind of consultancy. An obvious one, ask what the young person wants to get out of the experience at the beginning of the process so that you can support this in the role that they are doing, and at a debrief meeting you can check if this has been achieved and supported. This is a great way of measuring impact and also having young people contribute to how you measure impact in your wider organisation. Also, have introduction meetings to go through any documents or briefs that will help the young person understand their role. For example, you can organise a handover with previous young people in the role. So when I became a trustee, I met with 2 of the previous trustees and they were able to not only cover the documents and certain questions we might have, but they were also able to give us insight into the room environment that we were walking into and help reduce the potential feelings of intimidation. It also made the whole experience more helpful and relatable. Make sure the environment is friendly and inclusive. So contributing to a first trustee meeting can be incredibly intimidating, especially if the information doesn't have context. So introducing young people to the rest of the trustees, either through an overall email or through an icebreaker event at the beginning of a meeting, can be incredibly helpful. And finally, I would urge you to make sure that whatever young people you're inviting to work in your organisation, choose different kinds of people, whether it's their gender, age, race and ethnicities, abilities or socioeconomic backgrounds. Difference widens the way we think and the impact that we can have in the future. Thank you Sound Connections and Wired for Music for inviting me to speak, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.